do an information session for incoming students about the Paracelli-Gigna Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. My name is Erin Jablonski. I'm the director of the center. And joining us on the call tonight, we also have Anna, who's a manager in the center, and Katie, who is the lead student ambassador. If you want to, I don't know if you're the only student that we have, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Adav Sharma. I am I've been interested in Bucknell for a while, especially because of its engineering programs, which are supposed to be extremely high level, and I I just want to see what all I can do and how much I can innovate here.
Sure. All right. Wonderful. So I'm just going to go through a couple of slides and then we'll have time for Q&A at the end.
Hmm.
Anna and Katie, do you want to introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your role in the center?
Hi, I'm Anna. I started at this center a few months ago as the manager of external relations, marketing, and communications. So that basically means that if you follow us on social media, and if you don't, you should go do that right now. That's me posting all of that content, and I create some print materials that we'll be handing out that you'll see on campus throughout the fall. But yeah, I also help students market their own businesses. So anything that you would want to pursue in that kind of realm, I would also be happy to help you with that.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Katie. I am a upcoming junior at the school, and I've been interested and involved with the center since my freshman year. So I do more student-facing relationships. I meet with potential students, incoming students. I give them tours around the school. I am also the president of the Entrepreneurship Innovation Society, and I live in the Entrepreneurship Innovation House, which is something that's for sophomores, juniors, and seniors to live in, since freshmen have their own housing opportunities. And some of the things in the center does is provide a lot of education, lots of training, alumni-facing programming. So really doing a lot of different things here.
All right. So with that, I think we'll get started. Let me see if I can you see the slides? Great. All right, here we go.
Oops,
This is
sorry.
our mission. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just turned off my video by accident.
Oh, okay. Um, so our mission here at the center is to empower Bucknellians to take purposeful action to create value for the benefit of society. That can mean for-profit ventures, not-for-profit ventures, really cool initiatives, innovative new products in a larger organization, working with a startup, whatever it may be. And here's some pictures of some of our student founders and students who have worked with the center. So we offer a lot of information sessions. We have speakers and workshops. So everything from meeting with alumni who have a wide range of startups that they want to talk about and talk about their startup and founder journey. And workshops we do are about how to get better at developing your business model, presenting yourself, thinking about how you can innovate your business plan, if that's the next thing to do, all that sort of thing. So the next thing is I meet with students very regularly. Actually, Katie and Anna have been involved in this as well. So if they're working on something and they just need someone to kind of be their ride along, how we're making progress every week, what are the next things that you have to work on, we do that. We also have a lot of alumni who provide mentorship. So they'll do typically Zoom meetings, but when they're here on campus, they'll meet with student founders in person to help them think through what's next for their venture. We have a pitch competition, a venture plan competition. We offer internships, so we can help students find internships with startup companies, typically founded by Bucknell alumni. And we also offer micro internships. That's something you can do. It's, 20 to 40 hours of gig work, as they say. You can do it while you're doing classes, and we can place students with startups who need a particular project done. We provide seed funding, and we also do programs where we can provide in-kind support, whether that's something in the lab or something that's a resource on campus, before students are incorporated as they're trying to get their idea off the ground. So one of the things that's really fun, and Katie can speak more to this, is we have our Fall Founders and Spring Sprints speaker series. This coming August, when everyone's starting up on campus, we're going to have our kickoff meeting where Katie will talk about what happens in the E&I Society and the E&I House and some other events throughout the year. On September 1st, we'll be introducing the app Makerspace. I'm going to talk about that a little bit further along in this presentation. we will have our student founders who last presented in the spring give us an update on the progress that they made over the summer. And then we have a variety of alumni coming in. So we have someone who's in Y Combinator right now, that's Fern, and we also have our innovator in residence. We have these continue throughout the semester. We just wanted to give you a preview of the first few weeks of the semester. Katie, if you want to share anything about any particularly interesting alumni talks that you attended in the last year.
Yeah, so there's always a range, and it's nice to be able to come weekly and just get a whole new perspective. What's really great about the alumni is that they're there to support you and they're there to answer your questions. It's not something that you'll be able to find necessarily like in classes, the really like nitty-gritty details. We've had people from medtech, from broadcasting, from different kinds of apparel and jewelry. So there is always something you can learn, even if it's not an industry that you're super interested in, even if you don't have your own startup. There's always great information, great conversation that I always enjoy.
And if you want to check out some of our previous speakers, Anna, where can a student go to find some of the information on previous speakers?
So there are some videos on our YouTube channel that are some highlights from some of our Spring Sprints speakers from this past semester.
Yes, and Anna also puts together some pretty cool Instagram reels, so you can check it out once the event is over. Okay, here's something that's really cool that predominantly has been for engineers and computer science students, although it could be for any student. It just happens that that's who's been interested. And that's our design, build, launch internships. So what happens is an alum has a really cool idea, but they are not a designer, they're not a builder, they're not a prototyper, they're not a coder, whatever the case might be, but they really want something to exist. So they bring the idea to the center and we recruit students who can build that idea. So they get a faculty mentor. So far, they've been in engineering and computer science, and they get mentorship from the team in the center. And they work with that alum to actually build their idea, whether that's a physical product, a device, something like that, or hardware, or it's software, an app, or whatever it might be. So our current design build internships are we've also recently done an invention disclosure based on one of them. It was a really cool idea that an alum brought, and we were able to build it to a point where it made sense to seek some intellectual property protections. And so all of these you can find if you go on our blog, which I'll show at the end of the presentation. You can find more information about our design build internships. Another thing, I mentioned the micro internships earlier. This is really great for students who want to get into a particular industry startup. And so the example we show here is recently graduated Mark Tickner. He did a micro internship with an alum who started the Genomics Media Group. So the way that the alum describes it is it's the Bloomberg for genomics, because so much is happening in personalized medicine right now. And so he became a content creator. He had to do a bunch of research, and he created content and helped them launch stories and research papers, let's say, on their blog. Idea consultations, the way that this works is any student and alum, or alum, but mostly students can stop by or they can send an email, and they have an idea, but they don't know what to do next. This could be for anything. It could be, I have an idea for an app. I have an idea for a device or a product. I have an idea for a different type of business model. Think like the first time someone had an idea for something like Uber or DoorDash or whatever, right? So they come with the idea and they want to know what to do next. So we talk through, is it feasible, sort of technically feasible? Is the technology ready for it? Do people actually want this? Will you have customers and will they pay enough to make it worth it? And is it financially viable? Meaning, do you have a business model that will make sense? We work on those three elements in parallel as idea consultations, coaching, and mentorship continue. Seed funding is great because it provides up to $1,000 per academic year to any student founder. And this can be for anything. Katie, how did you use your seed award?
I actually have to reapply soon. So I used my seed money to help with trademark for the name for my product. And I was able to find like an amazing support from a lawyer who's actually a Bucknell alumni. And not only were they super helpful throughout the whole process, but they also gave me a discount, which was great because now I have a little bit of the seed funding left over to continue to pursue. And it can be used for something concrete, but you can also use it to purchase like prototype parts or like any kind of subscription that you'll need for your product. Like there really is such a wide range that you can use it for.
Yeah, very, very flexible funding because we know that every startup's costs are unique, and sometimes students are using it to incorporate, sometimes students are using it to buy supplies. Sometimes they actually need to go to a trade show or conference because that's the best next place for them to talk with folks about their idea. And so that's been really good. We release a dozen to 20 of those per year. Okay. The other thing we do is we have summer awards. So just like you've probably heard if you've been to any of the other Bucknell admitted students presentations, we have summer awards for research. This is a summer award to work on your own venture. And so what that can look like is you are basically busy. You're spending 35 hours a week. You're meeting with me 2 to sometimes many more hours per week. And also Anna helps out with these meetings because if people are working on their product or their service, whatever their actual thing is that they're selling, they need to market it. And sometimes people think of marketing last. They also don't think of grabbing the domain name and all the social handles and having some stuff to get started. So Anna will also work with people to get the word out early. So Anna, can you give some examples of the students you've worked with to post their things on our socials and our LinkedIn?
Yeah, so we've had a lot of kind of feature posts of different students' ventures, but I'll give an example. Just this week, we had Sua Lai, who is building the CanSat Learning Kit, which is this really cool educational device built for middle school and high schoolers. And she was actually using her kit at Bucknell's engineering camp, where some high schoolers from all over the place were coming to spend a week on campus. So she spent some time with them. So I kind of spent that afternoon over there getting some photos and some video content that we could put on our social media and tag her. And then also she has that content so that she can blast it out as she needs to promote her own business.
Yeah, that was really cool this week. So we have students, you can do it for the full 10 weeks. Some people have something else they do in the summer and then they come back early. There's a wide range. Again, we try to be as flexible as possible. Every startup journey is different. Every founder has different needs. And so we meet with you wherever you are. Another element of what we do here is our annual business pitch competition. Katie was a biz pitch chair this past year. Do you want to share what that experience is like for students and sort of the finale?
Yeah, so BizPitch, it is a 1 day event, but planning is most certainly not. We started planning for this event in September. It's a lot of marketing for it, but we also get to kind of decide how we want each year to be shaped with the bringing in this year, we have the new Changemaker Award. So that was really great since a lot of the applicants and contestants were really focused on making a change in their respected industries. So BizPitch is kind of like Shark Tank, and the idea that you have your own idea and you're pitching it to judges for the reward of funding and how it will be utilized. And first place we had Omokle, who has Aikusasa, which is like an educational platform for her hometown. And then we had the Forced Out, Caitlin Scott and Jen Benatar, which was an innovative new inner glove lining for any type of sports, but also blue collar jobs to help with insulation and better dexterity. Anna Ottoman had Local Loop, which was a new application on your phone, kind of like TikTok, where you could find out new businesses near you as activities to do and kind of get people to support local business, but also further involved in their town or when they're traveling someplace new. You heard a little bit about Sue Ale with her avacas. I don't know best how to describe it, but it is more about teaching high school and middle schoolers more about not aerodynamics, but like
Yeah,
space
like coding
engineering.
and satellites. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had JC and Abby Platt with Club Rally, which was addressing the problem that after you kind of graduate from recreational sports and collegiate sports, there isn't that same community left. So really getting those people together and back on the field or whatever arena kind of to further play. And they have had a couple pop-up events that people have really enjoyed.
Yeah. So those were all of our contestants this year for BizPitch. BizPitch has been around for a while, and we have a pretty interesting sort of legacy of students who have competed who are now working in startups or founders themselves. Another new thing that's coming up this year is we will have a venture plan competition. I do not expect that any first year would be ready for this because this is pretty intensive. So this is more like the business plan competition. You're presenting a robust slide deck to actual investors. You have to have your business model really nailed down. You have to understand all the aspects of, is it feasible? Is it viable? Is it desirable? And our alumni angel group will be meeting on campus in October to hear these much more extensive pitches. BizPitch is 3 minutes you get to pitch. This is 30 minutes in a closed room. BizPitch is totally public and televised. This is getting grilled then for 30 more minutes after your presentation. So very different flavor, and it's for people who are further along with their venture. We're very excited about the app makerspace. So you don't need to be a computer scientist to develop an app or a website. And you never did because you never had to be because you could always hire a developer, but now you can just use AI. So there's lots of low and no code options to get a prototype app or site running or platform. However, if you want to harden that app or make that site more secure or make sure you can scale appropriately, you might need some extra advice. So our two faculty gurus who are they both focus on different aspects of using AI tools for coding and creating. And student consultants will be working with our faculty gurus in order to help students who don't have any experience creating software, coding, and so forth, do web and app development with the idea that they can eventually ship to the App Store, hopefully within a semester. And so that'll be regular hours, the idea of democratizing web and app development. Another cool thing, and this is not something that first years need to think about right away, but this is something for later on when you are thinking about, should I go to grad school? Should I go get the job? Is there something I didn't get a chance to really dig into while I was here? We're going to be offering 2 new Masters of Science programs. One is Creative Enterprises. So that's for think about anybody who wants to be able to monetize their talent, their art, or a really cool idea that's in the creative space. And the other one is MedTech Innovation, and that's really leaning into the strong pre-med program, biomedical engineering department, and a lot of design classes and things that we already have in place, and just taking it to another level. So I want to share a couple more success stories before we get to questions. This past year, our graduating senior Ben Buxbaum launched Campus Swap, and the business is running, and you can check it out at usecampusSwap.com. He observed at the end of, during move out on college campuses, a lot of things end up in the dumpster that probably have resale value. So he came up with a business model where they keep those things from the landfill by picking them up, putting them in short-term storage, and having an online sales platform. Lyric was working on her lip candy and then her other skincare products throughout her time. She's a chemical engineering student. She continues to sell at Lyric's Lip Candy on Shopify. And then Ava, who did a development of an app that's on pause for the summer, but Bucknell Refit is a resale platform that's local for very specific student-to-student sales of clothing. All right, something for all first years to consider is the Design Thinking Leadership Pre-Orientation Program. So I think you need to sign up for pre-orientation programs by mid-July. And this runs for several days before regular first-year orientation that every single first-year student does. And they essentially go through a quick sprint looking at a client's needs. The client is typically a local small business or a nonprofit, some entity, some local small entity, to see, okay, they have this problem and they crunch for 3 days on how to address this, how to improve this, how to uh, make a change in the organization that's going to either grow their business, grow their profile, get more foot traffic, whatever it might be. Sometimes it involves developing a prototype. Sometimes it involves thinking about a different business model. Sometimes it involves lots and lots of customer discovery and going out and doing interviews with people who could be potential customers or visitors or something like that. So it's a really cool pre-orientation program. I know there's several people coming out of DTL that were interested in living in the E&I Affinity House. So that community of people really interested in doing and prototyping and trying, a bunch of different experiments and pursuing new ventures continues during their time here. And I mentioned earlier, this is something any first year can participate in. It's every Tuesday at noon, so we provide lunch. And it's a great way to meet other students interested in entrepreneurship and innovation. And it is a great way to network with alumni, and that's through our Fall Founders series. So those are two things for every first year to consider because they're both great programs, and it's a great way to meet people and build community if you're really interested in the E&I space. So, Anna or Katie, did I forget to mention anything?
I think that's about everything that we do.
Yeah, it actually ends up being quite a lot because of just providing the space where student founders can be near each other to, kick ideas around and get feedback. That's also just kind of organically happening in our spaces. So okay, this is how to follow us and learn more. So we have our LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and you can sign up to receive our newsletter. We also have a blog that you can get to from our main page on the Bucknell website.
Give me one moment. Let me screenshot this. Uh,
Do you have any questions
all
for
right, got
us?
it. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm kind of notoriously bad at coming up with questions on the fly for these Q&A sessions. Uh, But I will say I'm really glad that I decided to make the time to come here because seeing all of these different spaces where like I would be able to develop ideas like this is super, super exciting. And being able to network with alumni as well as other students, bounce ideas around, uh, and discuss like how to make my ideas grow that's really really exciting and uh, I'm excited to sort of mess around uh, see what more could develop from this. Do you have
Cool.
do you have an email that I would be able to
Yeah.
contact the E&I office?
Yes, it's PGCEI, like just 5 letters, PGCEI at bucknell.edu.
All right.
Are you in the engineering college?
Uh, I haven't actually applied yet. I'm
Oh,
a rising senior actually in high school.
okay.
So
Where are you joining us from?
Uh, I'm currently at Phillips Andover.
Okay.
So already I'm I have a crazy lineup of STEM courses that I'm super excited for to get back to in the fall. And like especially with the especially with E&I at Bucknell, I feel like in the different places I'm researching, I'll be in a good place to continue what I've been doing.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned engineering earlier. What I should have
Yeah.
said, I was in the College of Engineering for 20 years before I started in this role here. So I'm very familiar with all the programs. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. All right. Since this is recorded,
Ooh.
do you have any other questions for us? Or
Uh, uh, I don't know, but because thank you for giving me the email. I will 100% reach out
wonderful.
if I most likely have any more questions after this meeting.
Thank you. All right, Anna or Katie, if there's one thing you want to make sure that first years know about Bucknell, not just the center and how we fit into what they do here, like Katie, what would you say? What are things you like about Bucknell?
Oh, I could talk about this for a while. I think it's really cool how much different types of programming we have. There's so many. I particularly like the makerspace, which is anything creative related. They have tons of classes. They have events that you don't even have to sign up for. You can just drop in. So I've spent a lot of time there, which is great because it's such a nice place to like meet other people, but also just kind of like release some stress from the week and have some fun creating something. We have a lot of different places to like eat around campus and off campus, which is great. You know, Bucknell is definitely a more of a small town vibe, but that's personally something that I've always really liked. I really love how supportive the Lewisburg community is of Bucknell and vice versa. So there's just always something to be doing, even though it's not a big city school.
Yeah. So Katie was talking about 7th Street Studio and Makerspace, which is attached to 7th Street Cafe, which is a really cute little place where, like grab a milkshake and then go sew something or, you know, um, vinyl cut something and make a sweatshirt or 3D print something or laser cut or whatever. So you can do everything from the really, we would say, old school simple making to some pretty high tech stuff, 3D scanners and so forth with a milkshake. Not near the 3D printer. Sorry, I
The
should have.
milkshakes are really good though. So if
Yeah,
you
they're
get a
like
milkshake.
famous. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not a milkshake person, but I'm sure there'll be something for me.
Yeah, they have good tea and coffee and stuff too. Anna, is there anything you want to make sure that students know?
I think I would just say you mentioned Ben earlier, who's out, running his actual business now, and something that he said a few months ago to the two of us that stuck with me and I keep bringing back up is that the alumni network and the Bucknell network is really the university's differentiator, and I think that's something for students to be thinking about right now, even if they don't necessarily see themselves as entrepreneurs, but there's a really, really strong network of Bucknellians that are going to help you build your career or find that first job. And I think that's definitely an advantage when you're looking at Bucknell.
Absolutely. Definitely one of our strengths.
Hmm.
So I think with that, we've covered all we need to tonight, unless you've thought of another question in the last 20 seconds.
Uh, Again, I told you I'm not good at thinking of questions on the spot, but
Okay. No
I'll
problem.
definitely reach out via email.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you to anyone who's watching this recording. Again, the email address is pgcei@bucknell.edu, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out. There's lots of cool things coming up, end of the summer, start of the fall, and all the way through the year.